I don't like. The
my
lights
eyes
are a little weird,
betraying me.
guys.
To me, it kind of looks a bit greenish. I was like, that's cool, but yeah, maybe it's just the monitor here, or it's the lighting that's a bit off. But Spirit, of course, representing KZ Gaming, and we have finally loaded into our second best of 3. We apologize, guys. We're not gonna try to turn this into Talkcraft over the next 5 days, but sometimes things go wrong behind the scenes. But we are here, and we are ready to kick off our second best of 3 of the day. In the bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of the man that is representing Storm Gaming, hailing from Taiwan. This is Has.
He's already being a little bit weird. Let's go ahead and introduce the top right player for KZ Gaming. He is Spirit.
What do you make of Royal Blood as our opening map here? Do you think it's a smart choice with Spirit to go for Royal Blood?
I haven't heard too many complaints about Terrans, I think, so you know, generally they're more so complaining about altitude. So that would have been a surprise.
Yes, that definitely would have been. I think going for a map like Babylon is also a perfectly fine choice against Has, because I have the feeling that Has is someone who will always enjoy maps without a ramp a little bit more than maps with a ramp, because he's such an aggressive Protoss and in your face, and if you don't have to worry about high ground vision, I think that gives you as a Protoss player a little more possibility to do some crazy blinks, because you know exactly what's waiting for you and whatnot. But I can live with it. So what do you make of that pylon placement from Has? Because that is definitely a bit different.
Yes, anti-gas seals, very purposefully. It is a bit different. I mean, the thing is that some Terran players don't really even bother SCV scouting, so there's always that kind of funny, like, I'll do a mind trick, but then there's no mind trick to be done because they're not scouting anyways, and I believe so far that is the case, right? Spirit didn't send an SCV across, now he is actually. So he will see something wrong, and it is unfortunate that he's not going for a factory expand, where perhaps he would have felt like, oh, I can still handle this kind of okay, but I don't know what he's going to think, right? Like, who proxies? Well, I mean, not people are doing it. Well, he scouts no Nexus, all right? So that's the only thing that he sees, so he's figuring some type of one-base build, which is correct.
And the fact that Spirit is actually going CC on the low ground, despite the fact that his gas has been stolen, and now he scouts and he sees that there is no Nexus on the low ground. Now, of course, maybe he dropped that CC slightly before that SCVs arrived, but I have the feeling that what Spirit is doing right now is exactly what Has wants him to do. And this actually is kind of a dangerous game that Spirit is already playing here. He's going to try to find it, but that Robo is honestly very hard to scout, because you got those gold minerals blocking an easy path for the... Oh my goodness.
This is something... Hero did something like this, actually, on this map. It was in the bottom right, but still. I mean, I don't think he also proxied the first going to Robo.
Like, right now, to put this in context, that Nexus is on the wrong side of the gold, guys. So you can still mine from it. That's perfectly fine, but you will never be able to take the Vespian Geyser. But I guess that's just not something that Has wants to do. Maybe we'll see like a Twilight down the line, and then it's Happy Zealot spamming day, question mark?
That's what I was going to say, is that he has done a lot of mass charge lot builds, but then there's that other curveball here, which is that he went for a Robo first. So what is he going to do? Like, Warp Prism into DT? Wait, but then why not go for Twilight Cancel then Robo? Like, he's literally an observer, like the safest opener possible. This is, but with a gold-based Nexus.
Yeah, we're gonna get a Immortal as well. I mean, maybe he just feels that he doesn't want to go too early, and this will still line up. But the Reaper is a very fast unit, and Spirit gets an absolutely perfect scout, and that probe is absolutely going to fall. It's going to take a little while. You know, it's actually very annoying is that you can't really properly protect these probes. I've only done it once myself on this map. One time I played against a good Terran, I think it was Milky Cow or something. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take the gold. I got absolutely slaughtered. It was very annoying. As soon as the Terran player knew and they started attacking my mineral line from the right side, I was like, yeah, how do I keep these guys alive?
It's very interesting, but I guess that's the thinking here is that Haas then can defend the base with something more powerful that actually gives you units, right, like a Robo, and then while he's defending that, he will get the Twilight Council, he will get the charge, and he will spam Zealots, going back to your point about, like, well, he can't go up to 3 gases, right? But his main goal is Zealots.
You know, the thing is as well is that sometimes as a gold, you can overrate the gold a little bit as a player, because right now, this is not looking great for Has economically. Like, he's actually down in work. His Spirit is absolutely mining more with the double orbiter command, and Spirit obviously has a good scout, and at this point, he already knows, like, if this ever turns into 3 base against 3 base, it's going to be basically impossible for you to protect your main and that gold at the same time. So it is inevitable that you are going to attack me, and that's why Spirit is taking this as serious as he is. And I think all that Spirit needs to do is wait, because you know it's coming. Something is coming. If nothing comes, you're always winning regardless.
I think you're like damn straight to point out like how you can sometimes overread this and react wrongly to it. You know, if Spirit's first intuition is like, I can't let you have a gold base, let me push out, then that could get really awkward. But instead, just being like, yeah, okay, fine, you have it. I have my stuff, and I know you're going to be super dedicated with this. I'm just going to defend. It's working out for him quite well, and I love the Dark Shrine. That's what I was laughing at, just because we're getting like everything that Haas is known for right off the bat. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to work, but maybe something will find an avenue.
The man just salvaged a bunker though in the main base, Spirit that is, and I kind of feel like you want to keep these bunkers alive a little bit longer, Spirit, because the Zealots are absolutely coming, and all you have to do is stabilize up to the point where you have 2, 3, 4 medevacs, and then you have a whole bunch of Marines with +1 and stim. If a Terran player can ever get up to that phase in the game, they are completely fine, because they can micro the Marines for days, and Haz's army has very, very little micro potential. It's basically close your eyes and hope that these Zealots slice up everything.
What is the status on detection, by the way, as we have the Immortals starting to do a little bit of damage? They could actually try and target the missile turret, but that also might be a little on the nose. It looks like Spirit is just totally anticipating a follow-up of that nature anyways. He's got missile turret and he's got scan energy.
I actually really like the Widow Mines right now. I think Widow Mines are always fantastic against Zealots, with or without an armory. Zealots like to clump up, they all run forward together. Having a couple of mines makes it so hard to be aggressive. I mean, the storm is coming. Haz knows that this is about the moment where he really needs to start finding some damage, otherwise stim kicks in, combat shield kicks in, +1 kicks in. It's kind of now or never. Spirit just threw down a scan, so he kills the observer. That's nice, but that also means one less scan available. And if, oh my goodness, if these CTs would have been dropped in the main base, that would have been terrific. But instead, Haz is going to morph it into an Archon. He's going to try to break the front. Will he do it, Zombie Grub?
Well, he is starting to chew through the bunkers as they are going down. The Master Repair can only last so long. The Marines stimmed are now going up the ramp. The Widow Mines pop out perhaps in the nick of time. Tank goes down. SCVs could try and hold position to be a little more helpful. 10 of them, 11 of them have gone down so far. Does Spirit have enough of that production behind this? I think he does. His production is still safe. He's got all of his upgrades finishing as well. And those Widow Mines are now burrowed.
Yep, and permanently cloaked, because the armory finished up in the middle of this entire attack. And since we just killed the Observer, nice forceful damage. Spirit quick to react, picks up the Marines. He's actually unloading the Marines on the low ground. Spirit is just full of confidence that this is going to be fine, and I think he will be fine, but I think this was a bit too early. I think he should have tried to maybe run back to the high ground for a split second. The man lost 31 SCVs, but I still think he's completely fine in this game, because Haz cannot keep on attacking without an observer here, and all that Spirit needs to do is just get that third CC to be in orbital as well, drop some mules, and it's totally fine to be down 10 workers, but he needs to make sure that he keeps these Marines alive for a little while longer.
That's what's really scary. You know, already we saw a display of that friendly fire from the Widow Mine and the tank when the charge lots reach. So Spirit now very much aware of that. Micro's back very, very well. There's actually no entry made there from Haas. So I think he realizes time might be up soon. He's got a probe place for third Nexus, but then just warp in 7 more charge lots. So he thinks he can do it. Another force field on that ramp. Tries to make the Zealots a little bit more effective, but Spirit has that +1. He's got the combat shield. He's got medevacs, healing everything up. And Haas is basically a one-trick pony, right? Charge lots and more charge lots.
Yep, did get the tank there towards the end, but the target firing of that tank was fantastic, getting a couple of very big hits off on the Immortal. But Haz will just keep on trying. No Forge, no Robo Bay. This is it. Now with 3 Archons, obviously there are no goals here. 3 Archons have some potential, but the Widow Mines are still the biggest problem. And once more, the mines connect in an absolutely fantastic manner. The Zealots go down, and all that Spirit needs to do is get 20+ Marines. He's going to steal one. He wants that Prism. But yeah, the Archon's getting a couple of big hits up, but in the end, the firepower of the guy with the gun is too damn high. We accidentally drop a mule. I definitely don't think that's a mana mule. I think that's panic.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit of a hockey issue coming in. Perhaps at the most opportune time. I mean, it could have been a lot worse earlier on, yes. And it is a bit of a waste of a mule, but of course, we're talking about how much Spirit would snowball after he's pushed this back, right? That's what you were talking about, that him being lower in the economy, even, 10 workers lower, is really not that bad. So this is kind of the deciding moment. I think it could have been really hype. Now we're in a pause.
Yeah.
So.
But I think the deciding moment just happened. I have the feeling that Haz lost all of his key units, lost the majority of Zealots. Maybe there is like one more tiny chance when we warp in a few more Zealots, because I do think Spirit made a mistake there. Spirit got a bit over-eager where he's like, I want the Prism that's carrying 2 Archons, and the Archons got unloaded. They got a couple of big hits off, but technically the Marine count should already be high enough. We're cranking out 4 or 5 Marines at a time. We still have a couple of mines. Spirit is now feeling that he can already deal damage, and a drop like this this will always find damage, but right now the emphasis should probably be on just stabilizing at home, because Haas is gonna try one more time.
That's not a lot of Marines looking at it. I mean, some of the Archons are rather low. By the way, I do want to highlight, you know, Haas had some pretty hot pickups on those Archons right before they died. That was cool, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Now he's going to try and split the now even more limited number of units, but that production, it's there, right? So give him 30 seconds, he'll have another army to defend even 2 different locations, although he also has the drop heading out. So this might get a little topsy-turvy, as there does seem to be damage done in the main base. DT got dropped, 5 SCVs went down, but there's the first Marine drop. Another dropped on the way, and that is going to obliterate all of Haas's economy.
It definitely is a real Haas game when he goes down to 24 workers, and the workers are long distance mining from a natural that's not quite done yet. We had a DT finding some damage in the main base, but none of that is going to matter. In the end, Spirit survived up to those magical upgrades. +1, combat shield, and stim. That is all he needed. And I do think that armory finishing up in the middle of that first attack, that was key, because those Wither Mines are able to fire twice. And I do hope that the wrist issues are okay, by the way, because he didn't pause for hotkey issues. He mentioned his wrist in the game, and we could see him there stretching his arm as well. Maybe overly tense and nervous, I don't know.
Very possible. I mean, I think that's what people mostly have pinpointed as Spirit's weakness offline. There's a lot of nerves. So, yeah, it could be that, maybe a bit of a beyond effect as well, right? But hopefully he's feeling all right. He's got that 1-0 start. That might have been the most nervous he'll ever be. Now that he's feeling comfortable, he feels like he's got Haas under his thumb, he'll be fine.
Seems to be related to the arm rest there. Maybe he leaned like his elbow and like the funny bones.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, my head is going numb. We've all been there, but he should definitely be familiar with these chairs, because these are the chairs that we've used for a long time.
Yeah.
I guess Spirit is going to try to make himself comfortable. Overall, I like almost everything that Spirit did in the game. I felt the target fire was fine. The crisis management was honestly very good, because it did still get scary. With that nice force field, the Archons having the potential to splash all over those Marines, but I feel Spirit looked dialed in. He was ready. He reacted quickly to the most important things. I think overall a solid performance by Spirit.
For me, I think there's 2 diverging paths, right? The alternate universes. One, Spirit doesn't scout exactly what's happening as fast as he did, right? So he doesn't figure out it's a gold-based Nexus. He doesn't figure out it's a Robo, something along those lines. And something else can happen that he's really just off-put. Maybe he does something extreme like cancel his command center. That would have really been very awkward. So that was the first time that could have actually diverted to a really weird game. And the second time was absolutely with this first defense being a little bit overconfident, perhaps another force field, perhaps a couple more zealots, Archon's a little bit closer, wouldn't mind splashing on his own units a little bit more often, and you can't let a game like that go. And I think that was something that happened with him versus Nice actually last year, where we'd be like, yeah, he should be in a fine position. He's got the Terran thing going, all right? Like, he's going to move across the map, he's going to kill the guy, and then he'd just be, you know, extra wide, under-defended elsewhere, too aggressive somewhere else, and then he would let it go a little bit. But while I got kind of close in this game, I think experience is showing for Spirit.
Yep, there was one key moment, and we can't really pinpoint this as like, oh, Haas made a mistake, because that's not fair. We are the observers. We see everything. But technically, there was no detection in the main base, and we did have a prism, and we had a dark shrine. It was at the Templar Archives. If that first attack would have started, well, just one time flying that prism into the main base and unload a single DT in the main, I actually think that could have changed things. It would have been very annoying for Spirit to worry about a DT, because we know how quick Dark Templars kill SCVs, worry about getting a turret up there, and then at the same time still have to do everything perfectly in the front, repair your bunkers for as long as you can, put your Marines in a great spot. But obviously it's very difficult for Haas to know that, especially because Spirit threw down a scan and killed the observer.
That was a nice touch, actually, yeah, because that also could have come across and obviously revealed the Widow Mines. But like on the top subject of that DT, I couldn't quite see because we're not in the game. But one thing I noticed prior to that moment happening, prior to the mule call out that you did, was that he almost always had one scan available on either command center. So I couldn't check. Maybe it was like a 40 energy thing, because you're right. DTs do damage so much so quickly. They cause chaos. Really is a lot of the problem. That 10 seconds still could have killed Spirit if the timing was absolutely perfect for Haas.
Even if you just get that one SCV that's building the armory, right? Then the armory gets delayed. Yeah. These are the super annoying things as Darren play, because you need to babysit all of it. But in the end, a fun, explosive game. And this man definitely lived up to his legacy. That's kind of everything that people tune in for. When they see this guy, they want to see craziness. And I think Proxy, Robo, Gold Base, Zealot all in with a Dark Shrine. Yeah, that qualifies as one man and one man only. And that man is Haas.
And to the bottom right, looking to start another run to the group stage. Similar to last year, he is Kaizi Gaming's Spirit.
Will it be the year of Piotr? Honestly, it has to feel so damn good for him to be on a bit of an online roll over the last few weeks leading into this event. And the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything, because this is where you really need to show it. Nobody cares how many online tournaments you win. This is the day you want to peak, you want to secure your ticket into the group stage, and then hopefully play a couple of amazing series tomorrow or the following day. But it has to be a nice confidence booster when you get wins like a 3-0 over Gabe. Like, that never happens.
Yeah, that was really impressive. And then before that, he 2-0'd Rainer. So.
Yeah, not bad either.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Some bio games, not necessarily all that tricky, but yeah, we'll talk about that if Spirit does end up going into a Zerg matchup later down the road. It was a little untested, surprisingly, for an Open Cup. It was TVP that particular week, but just in general, that's been the rumors, right? That's been people always talking up Spirit, but then he's actually delivered it more often in some of the still important cups, even though they're the smaller scale. So the question is, can he perform on that bigger stage? That was answered to a degree last year. He's just looking to improve this year.
Yep, in that great run on the weekly, he didn't play too many Protoss players. So I was like, hey, Spirit, that was a great performance. You want to play a little best of 5 against Max Pax on the Friday night? And he said, yep, Roddy, I'm in. Max Pax is always in. So they had a best of 5, and it was a pretty fun one. We didn't have the craziest long games. In the end, it did go in favor of Max Pax, but it was honestly a very hardly contested 3-2 victory for Max Pax. While in the past, we've seen Max Pax sometimes run circles around Spirit. So even though it wasn't a win, it still made me feel pretty good about Spirit this TVP, where it's like, alright, if you can make it this hard on the Pax, who has recently been getting victories over pretty much every single Terran out there, even Beyond has been on fire, has lost to Max Pax. I was like, I think that's totally fine. You know, a little best of 5 that goes all the way to the final match, went to distance, and all games were close and could have gone either way. I think then you pass the test where you're like, alright, my TVP is good.
We obviously can't talk much about Max Pack because unfortunately he doesn't come to the offline events, but it is not an exaggeration. A lot of pros have said he is top 2 Protoss in the world. So to get that close to defeating him, it really is testament to how well Spirit is playing. Now, of course, we have this game underway, but there's nothing really cheesy or really weird, guys, so that's why we took this time. We are maybe going to get some aggression as Spirit has swapped the reactor here. He's building those Hellions. Could go 2 Hellions into 2 Wood of Mines. That is exactly what he's going to do. Now, Haas did open with a Stargate, double shield battery too, so playing pretty safe.
Yeah, that's very safe.
Yeah.
Double shield battery Phoenix. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm never that safe Zombie Graph, because I am if I'm not exactly sure what's coming. Because you're always kind of worried if you go into Phoenixes this quickly, if they open up with 4 Hellions, where they just ignore your natural and they try to drive into the main base. And the Phoenixes can be fantastic, of course, against the Hellions, but it takes a little while. And sometimes you're just like that 10-second window short of getting that extra Phoenix, having the extra lift available. So I don't really hate it. It has is playing it safe, but in this game, it's not working out for him. Because it's not about the batteries against the Hellions. What this is all really about is that beautiful armory on the production tab that our observer is now zooming into as well. And if these Widow Mines are able to burrow in range of a mineral line, I actually think this game is over, because it's going to take so long for Haas to get detection. I may have been there a couple of times myself, Zombie Girl.
Haas is playing a little bit dangerously. He's actually moving the Phoenix out, right? So there's like, maybe they find the medevac. Maybe it's amazing. Or now they're completely out of position. So no way to pick up a Wood of Mine, perhaps. They're both going to unload, nothing to kill it. Haas has to be paying attention, right? Yes, okay, he does pull the probes. It's going to be a little late. Okay, last second split. Could have been worse.
That on burrow was actually a mistake because there was no detection. So, oh no, kill it then. Okay, he does kill it with the Stalker. I gotta say, brilliant play by Spirit. He showed the Hellions. No, did he pick up the other Widow Mine? Wait, did we still leave one Widow Mine in the main base?
No, he picked up one of the Widow Mines, and I think you're right. He meant to pick up the one that hadn't shot. But I mean, that's all I can say about that. Misclick, perhaps.
This is still big.
no. Oh, I thought Haas actually gotten that. Oof.
When not pulling the workers would have been better than trying to pull it at the absolute last moment, but this is already an absolute disaster for Haas. He's down 11 workers, the Oracle comes out, and now we need to drop not one but 2 Revelations to clean... Actually, no, only 1, because yeah, Spirit made that little mistake by trying to save that one Widow Mine. It's almost like he forgot he had an armory, you know? That's the kind of play you make when you don't have an armory. But needless to say, this was still a success for Spirit. It could have gone even a whole lot better. And what I wanted to touch up on very quickly is that he did set himself up for this, where he's like, hey Haas, here are my Hellions. And Haas is like, wow, Phoenix are really quick. We can hunt down these Hellions. And while the Phoenixes are chasing the Hellions all the way towards the top right, Spirit's like, ha, got you. Cloaked Widow Mines in your main base.
Yeah. Well, Spirit is on his way to build up 3 barracks. He did get a Cyclone and Viking, something to help him against the Phoenix that would eventually come across the map. But there's something else you can do. You can actually run across the map yourself. And this actually, I know you asked my opinion about the last map, but Dragon Scales actually is quite difficult for Protoss. There's a lot of space between your natural and third, and wide concave areas, wide just like open areas, right? So not that that's necessarily what Spirit's abusing right here, right now, more so just having units when Haas is trying to recover from probe damage, trying to get harassment done. The 2 Cyclones and 2 Vikings are already a big enough deal. Add in a couple of Marines as well, and does Haas have enough to defend this?
Well, Haas is going for Resonant Glaives, right? That's obviously a bit awkward. Glaives is very good against Marines, not that great against Cyclones, and I actually think the play here for Spirit is to land the Vikings. He throws down the scan. I think you should land the Vikings, because landed Vikings are very good against Adepts. That Oracle is going to work on the Cyclone, and in the end, Haas is going to be able to clean this up, but he's losing the majority of his Stargate units, and Stargate units are so expensive. As a Protoss, you really cannot open Stargate and then lose an Oracle and 4 Phoenixes.
Yeah. A bit unfortunate about not being able to save the 2 Vikings. I think Spirit just said, okay, yeah, that's done. Like, let me focus on other things, because they could have gone somewhere and landed and killed probes. But we also saw, of course, Spirit saw how many Adepts there are. Now, Adepts against an early push can be your only real response. So I don't know if that's quite enough of a nod to being Resident Glaives, but those are a decent amount of Adepts, right? And Haas would do something like this. We've seen some other Protoss experiment a little bit, not just the last patch, just the last 6 months with this again. So I think if Haas knows, okay, he's Resident Glaives, he's going to have a pretty solid defense against this, and we do already have a wall coming down.
Yeah, I think Spirit is not 100% sure yet, but I think he's kind of thinking about it. What is good against Resident Enclave Adapts? Well, just big number of bio units. Okay, we're even working right now with the Ghost Academy. A very tanky building, and these Adapts going to have a hard time getting in. Widow Mines are absolutely fantastic against Adapts. Marauders that are being healed by Medevacs are absolutely fantastic against Adapts. I think this is honestly a little bit crazy and unnecessary what Spirit is doing. It might pay off in a big way. But I think this is one of these moments where, like, do we need to do this as a Terran? And I don't think the answer to that question is yes, because Haas is already committed to a ridiculous amount of adapts. He needs to find damage. Like, Spirit is right now getting a bit ahead of himself.
I totally understand your concerns. I think it is a legit concern. Haas knows that there was a wall, but, well, he tried again to get in, and suddenly there wasn't a wall, guys. Adepts going to the natural. The supply depot was down. As Spirit arrives with his 2 medevacs, he was basically saying, I don't need to worry about home because I have a wall, and then he just left the wall open. So now he's forced to only defend on his main base. This is the type of game that I think Haas wanted a little bit more topsy-turvy. Let's see how Spirit handles it now, the new and improved Spirit in 2023.
This is a bit of the Katowice magic. Even games that shouldn't be crazy anymore still get a bit crazy, but I think in the end, the Widow Mines are the biggest problem on the other side of the map because we have no detection. Without detection, the Adepts can never kill the Widow Mines, and it doesn't really... Oh, we're going for a planetary fortress here. I don't hate it at all. That PF is not going to die against the Adepts. That's not something you see in high-level StarCraft very often.
That guy on Reddit right now, he's like, yes! I can do this and be a pro. Absolutely, Purpin's Mass Resident Glaives. But this has gotten way weirder than it really had to. Spirit could have calmly played into apparently a planetary third, but also into Ghost and a huge army with better upgrades.
Yep, it is a game right now, but I still don't really see too much potential anymore for these Adepts, other than taking out a couple of depots and maybe finding a few more SCVs. Eventually, the Terran army will just be a whole lot better here than the Protoss army, and Haas is still making Adepts. And unless we can kill the armory somehow, we cannot win with only Adepts. This is not a thing.
Now Ghost coming out too. I mean, Is he going to let that shade complete? Yes, he will. He's going to go for it. Thinks he might still have enough, and he might be right about that. The Marines are dying. The Adept's still alive. Those Marines have won 1, by the way, but the numbers might just be a little too good. Well, it doesn't matter. I think Haas did read the writing on the wall. It doesn't matter if you win that particular battle. He needed to do so much more against him. So he taps out then and there, and Spirit does take the 2-0.
I absolutely love